मन को तोल रे, माटी देखे ये तन, देखे प्रभु नमन, शरण प्रभु की आजा रे। बारंबार मिले ना ये मानुष जन्म, शरण प्रभु की आजा रे। वेदवाणी पूरन कर ले, वेद पठन प्रभु का होले रे, इसका हर एक वचन है अनमोल रतन, ऋषि मुनि बोले रे, पाले सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति। What we had been studying about is the 3 stages of gaining knowledge. The first stage of gaining knowledge is known as Shravana. Shravana means listening. But in today's world, we can take it as any form by which knowledge comes from an external source to us. When knowledge comes from an external source to us, it is merely information. So obviously, the first thing we have to do is make sure we have taken that information correctly. Obviously. So if you don't take in the information correctly now, what are you going to do with it? You're going to come to all sorts of erroneous conclusions. And one of the things you will find in your study of Vedanta is that no matter how much you seem to listen, you don't seem to get the information right. That is why there is so much. I mean, people have been studying for 10 years, 20 years, and even the base information doesn't seem to be correct. I'm not talking about a disagreement with that information. You agree or disagree is your business. But at least everybody should be on the same page in terms of what did it say. This step itself, most of us fail at. But in any case, this is step number 1. Step number 2, having gained the information, we have to go to the second stage, which is manana or reflection. This is when you think about the information. When you think about the information, that information starts converting itself to my knowledge. There is a world of difference between information and knowledge. We all have the information, for instance, that I don't know, we should save. This information everybody has. But unless we have thought about it carefully, it will not become something that we have comprehended. Everybody knows which food is healthy, which food is unhealthy, which activity I should take part in, which activity I should not take part in, what should be priority, what should not be priority. Everybody knows all this stuff. And with Google around, if whatever you don't know, you can know in a second. So, gaining information is not difficult, but it's not enough. Simply not enough. Whatever you hear in the class is simply not enough. Unless we go back and do the necessary homework, it doesn't convert. The information doesn't become knowledge. Even knowledge is just a stage where you have understood something. But to live that knowledge, not practicing to live the knowledge. Please notice the difference between these two things. Many people say that you should practice living that knowledge. We are not talking about practicing as knowledge. It may be a means of gaining knowledge, but it's not practice. It is that you automatically, naturally just live it. Now, this is true knowledge, where effortlessly you just live it. When you do that, that's when you are said to have understood it. Now, we are all living our life in a particular way, whatever that may be. That is what we have understood, because that's what we're living. So living and understanding in Vedanta is the same thing. No difference. So whatever you live is what you know. Okay, so 3 stages of knowledge. Number 1, Shravana. Number 2, Manana. Number 3, Nididhyasana. Shravana means listening or taking in information. Manana means reflection on that information. Nididhyasana. Technically, Nididhyasana only means meditation. But for our purposes, we will take it as digesting the knowledge completely, living that knowledge. Because these 3 stages are given really in terms of your spiritual growth. So Nididhyasana, meditation, which is the last step to self-realization. Okay, so the first level of ignorance is traversed by gaining information. That's what we had done, correct? And then Abraham Lincoln's wonderful quote. He has dived down deeper into the sea of knowledge and come up drier than any other man I know. So much information and no comprehension whatsoever. Let us pray to the good Lord that we escape this kind of life. How much information we gather is amazing. And we're very impressed also with people who have a lot of information. What neither helps them nor helps us. What are we impressed with? I'm unable to tell, but it is very impressive. So I was thinking, why are we so impressed with it? I was so impressed because people have so much information. Because it is actually only humans, right, who can have this, who can have an intellect at all. So any representation of the intellect, any image of the intellect, any faking of the intellect also seems very impressive to us. That's an amazing thing how humans have this intellect. Nobody has an intellect. Today I read a very nice quote. Who was it? Was this Huxley? I don't remember. Where it says, very nicely said, that humans are the only intelligent creatures. They are so smart that they can come up with all the wrong theories of the world. Yeah, an animal doesn't come up with a theory. An animal doesn't look at the sky and say, oh, there is a God there, and if I pray to him, then he will send me something. An animal don't think like that, right? An animal is very down to earth. He may save some food for tomorrow at best. And then didn't conceive too much of tomorrow, but whatever. May save some food, maybe make a burrow or a nest or some. Humans, what all theories they've come up with? They'll come up with the theory that if I pray to the river, then the river will flow. If I pray to the clouds, then they will give me rain. I'll pray and then rain will fall. Or if I play desperately for a green light, God will make sure that my traffic light is green. Humans are intelligent enough to make theories and stupid enough to make incomprehensible ones. So this is an interesting thing about humans. No animal does this kind of nonsense. The animal's life is very clear. But we can make the theory. That's our greatness. We make the most foolish theories. That's our stupidness. So when any mimicry of intellect also is very appealing to us because that is a human characteristic. So anything that even mimics it, we are very happy with. That's why if you look at animals also, the animals that look and behave like us, we like them more. It is sort of whatever reflects humans, we like that. We are most interested in that. So, will I do something? Right. So, shall we read further? Any questions so far, or everyone's all good? Okay, so let us read. Oh, that's sorry. 1 second, my head. There's all sorts of things that are written here which I haven't seen. Deep Raj. Then how? That's how these Dhongi Babas gain popularity. That's how the Dhongi Babas gain popularity. Actually, I'm thinking not really. The Dhongi Babas gain popularity because the other thing humans are very, very interested in is fulfilling their desires. So if you tell somebody, I will fulfill your desire, that chap will come running behind you. That is why all good salespeople don't tell you how good their product is. They tell you how your desires will be fulfilled. So they can sell you the worst product on the surface of this earth as long as you believe that your desire is going to be fulfilled. An amazing thing, no? Like some things are priced so expensive, a Birkin. It's so expensive. And people are longing to buy it. Now, why are you longing to buy it? I don't know how much it is. How anyone know? Like 4 or 5 lakhs for a purse or something. So longing to buy it. What is so great about that? You know, there was this store, and we went to France. There was this store. What is it called? Hermes, I think. Hermes. So I've heard so much Hermes and all. This is in Paris. Hermes was fantastic. And, so I went in to see what all is there. I dragged Farouk also in with me. He didn't know what this was and why are we entering this shop? We didn't have any concept and just gave up because men usually give up when they're with their wives. So he walked in with me and nice big store and all sorts of things there. Looking around, it's a nice store, no objection to it. And then there was something that looked pretty nice. So I said, okay, what does this thing cost? the cost I painted. Now, the thing is, somebody is going to buy that thing. Why? You can get that thing or anything that does more or less 90-95% of what that job of the job or whatever that thing. But like 1/10 the price. And why would you buy? After all you earned the money, you have put in the effort to get the money, whatever you did, even if you married a rich guy and therefore you have the money, you still have to put in the effort, right? He shouldn't leave you or something and you can't buy your ornaments. You still have to put in effort. Whatever you put in effort, you got the money and you're going to spend it on that thing, whatever it is. Why? Does that product have that inherent value? Or are they able to convince you that some desire of yours is going to be met up? And anybody can make you do anything if you can get convinced that your desire is going to be met. So that's how the Dhongi Babas make us, that's how, we say, oh, they're so bad. They are not so bad, they are evil. Somebody tells me, you give me 10,000 rupees and then the girl you love will fall in love with you and you believe it. Then your 10,000 rupees are gone. So what makes us believe Dhongi Baba is the same salesman thing. That as long as you, I'm not able to move this cursor up. As long as they make, oh, Dhongi Baba, sorry, Harry. Dhongi Baba, Dhongi means what? Counterfeit. Counterfeit Babas means spiritual people. So counterfeit spiritual people means fake religiosities, fake religious people. The miracle mongers, basically. What? I can't hear you. You're muted. Okay. Okay. Question, Harry. What is Vedanta's view of free will? Why free will suddenly, Harry? I ask because I wonder whether it is that freedom which allows us to make wrong theories. Would Vedanta agree? Free will in Vedanta, there's actually a video on it, which you can go here. It's called Free Will versus Destiny, or Destiny versus Free Will, something like that. What that is, you can go hear it. Free will is a hypothesis that we put to avoid the trap of entire predictability. If it be true that all of us function on vasanas, that means your this moment is fixed, your future is also fixed. Because as long as you're in the loop of causation, that will just go on. So therefore, since we know that we can bring about change, and this change means that the vasana has to change, therefore there has to be something subtler that enables this. Now that free will is not the cause of our wrong theories. That free will is just an option to be different from what you are. The cause of the wrong theory is the non-training of the intellect. There is zero attempt to train the intellect. Zero. I mean, where in the world is anybody making any kind of systematic attempt to train the intellect? If at all educational institutions are doing something, they are doing Shravana. And they are trying to make sure that that Shravana was correct. You heard it correct. A very tiny percent, very, very tiny percent. Like, in Harvard, there's this guy who is, I don't remember his name, but he teaches law there. And he teaches law by the process of forcing you to think of different sort of alternatives. He does that. He does it very well. Now, this guy, this professor, may be one of the few people But the wide majority, there's no attempt to think. So that's why we have wrong theories. Nobody has taught us first find facts. First find facts. Step one. Then this is the way by which you can connect these facts, or this is the way you can make a theory out of those facts. Neither of this is taught ever. And so we are just muddling along as best we could. So that's the reason we have these wrong theories. And okay, Harry. Priya B. Oh, Priya B after a long time. Fraudulent priest, Hogies, seers. Yes, Mahesh has put the destiny versus free will. Michael Sandel, yes, Priya. Obviously, you've also heard Michael Sandel. So he does a good job. There are professors who are doing it, no doubt about it. But of course, I may be biased. Nothing like Vedanta to force you to think, because this covers the whole gamut. Everything needs to be covered. All right, so now let's continue. Where were we? Shall we read this lovely poem again? You may house their bodies, but not their souls. For their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backwards, nor tarries with it. This is Khalil Gibran in the book The Prophet, when he's talking about our relationship with our children. We always see ourselves as the teachers of the children. And this continues even if the child is 80 years old. The child is 80, you are 100, but you will see yourself as the teacher of the child. So he says, no, you may house their bodies, but not their soul. For their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow. They don't dwell in your house. They dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You realize that every bit of life is, we are all mentally living in some past situation. All of us, even these children who are now children, will one day grow up and live in the past. So suppose I were to show you a picture of a person just from, like, not his face, just what he's wearing. I'm sure you can make a reasonable estimate of his age. Make a fairly reasonable estimate. Why? Because whatever your age, you will continue the sort of fashions of when you were young. You continue to do that. I mean, not everybody, but the wide majority. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. Because they are why? Because they are seeing something you cannot see. And this is so true for today. Today, parents want to advise their children on which career to take. It's the most silly thing. Because the parents know what they know, become BA, BSc. That is all they know. But today's careers are beyond our comprehension. What are these people talking about? You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You live in a different world. Let them live their life. Now, why is this? Because the world changes. And when you're very young, You're able to absorb that change. But as you grow older, we're more fixed in our ways. Not everybody, I'm repeating that, because I've been fortunate to meet many older people who were not like that. And I would say the greatest example has to be Swamiji. I mean, he's what? What is he now? He's 96. But he'll be 96 and now what is the date today? He'll be 96 in a few days now. And yet he is so forward-looking about everything. He doesn't say, oh, it used to be done like that. So many people I talk to, they say, no, but it used to be done like that. So, main kya karu? It used to be done like that. It is not being done like that today. So it's not like everybody goes older, gets rusted, but this is the normal tendency. So youngsters take in information quickly, and therefore they are more on the ball, as it were, in terms of what's going on. The taking in of new information is itself an art. The tendency when one hears or reads is to merely repeat in one's head what one knows and not allow fresh information to come in. Please underline these lines, they're very important lines. The tendency when one hears or reads is to merely repeat in one's head what one knows and not allow fresh information to come in. Have you ever noticed how people don't seem to have heard what we said? Others feel that way about us. We notice that, na? They say, Arey, I told you, why don't you know? But we don't know when we do this. So tough to take in information. Receiving information becomes difficult because we believe we know. I think the worst example has to be people who've been on the spiritual path for a long time. The worst of this category. Now, since I've been around for many years now, how many years? Almost 35 odd years. So over these 35 years, I met people. And so when I met these various people, and then I met them, and then we've been out of touch, and then we met again, and all this stuff moves on, right? Now, yesterday itself, I was speaking to a person who I knew 50 years ago. And he's very interested in the subject. He claims interest even today. He says he's working on it. He's doing his sadhana, all of that. Now, when you talk to him, it is almost deja vu, because he's telling you exactly the same thing that he was saying 30 years ago. And he thinks that he has done very well in terms of spiritual development because he stayed on track. Who is going to be rude enough to tell him, do you not see you're stagnating? Who is going to be rude enough to say? Okay, suppose you are rude. You say, okay, for his welfare, let me say it. Do you think he's going to accept it? All that will happen is he will not speak to you again. That is all that will happen. So the worst offenders when it comes to this are people on the spiritual path because they are now convinced that they already know. It is frightening that we came so close to knowledge, and the point of knowledge in the end is surely to say that we don't know. And wherever you go hunting, actually you don't get that answer. Because the more you think about it, And if you have thought about it sufficiently, you'll hear as people talk how they keep on contradicting themselves without even knowing that they're contradicting themselves. And so Socrates, the bright Socrates, the brilliant Socrates, the god Socrates, he never taught anybody anything. All he did was he asked people questions. And when he asked people questions, they themselves drove this whole spaghetti logic so much that they eventually were tied up in it. Brilliant guy. If you read his dialogue, Plato's dialogue, you actually find it quite funny. Why does he do this? Instead of trying to tell somebody something, he just keeps asking them questions until the fellow figures out that, okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. We should do that, no? But then we have to have a Socrates who will do that. So some Socrates from this class, please wake up, become a Socrates so that you'll be able to employ his methodology. I mean, I don't know if that will work, because what did people do to Socrates after all? They just gave him poison. So be warned. Can't ask too many questions. But at least we should ask ourselves those questions instead of being so satisfied with what we know. Recognize that we are a small, infinitesimal speck. How much is our intellect going to understand? That we have a sort of theory of everything, that we have a theory of everything itself is a big thing. But as you go on examining that theory, you begin to realize how much of that is not clear at all. So it's not easy, this whole business about taking in information. It's the first step. But most of us are out for step one only. Not easy to take this thing in. So I thought, let's have exams. Then by say exams, then everybody will run for their lives. So what do we do? So we do exams. At least we'll be able to identify whether Shravana is happening. But you have to answer all our stupid questions. That's harder than what Socrates did. I don't have to answer. I can always say pass, right? Deep breath. Oh, yes. I know, Mahesh. The bigger problem is always answering my own stupid questions. It is the biggest problem. But I have a question every day. When I joined the academy, they used to call me question queen. Well, everything anyone says, I will question. My mother told me, you become a lawyer because you argue too much. And my father told me, no, you better don't become a lawyer because lawyers need to work also. So then I didn't become a lawyer. So the thing is, we have to all question ourselves. And I hope that our class will reach that stage where we can all discuss with one another and even at least find out what are we differing on. If we can discuss in such a way and come to that point, what is that point we're differing on? What is it we agree on? What is it we differ on? Be an amazing thing. If we can do that. You'll all practice doing that. 1 month, you're going to get holiday. So in that 1 month holiday, please do Shravana. Not you, Nilanjan. You're not getting. You are coming to the course. So you don't think you're getting a holiday. But for others.
Yes, Janki ma'am. Sure.
For the others, they will be getting a holiday from the lectures. So will you all, so in that 1 month, I hope we're going to do it now before I go. This Shravana and Manana, you all can test for yourselves. And I say that, then nobody comes to the classroom. You have to, what do I do? Am I not helpless here? So, Shravana is itself very different. And when you do GD, hopefully, you will find out what you haven't heard from. That is why I write down what everybody says. So at least we know we heard it wrong. This I'm talking for all those who are not going to be coming to the course now. I can see many people from this are coming to the course. So you'll be a smaller group. So that's good. And if you can come to the course in July, please do. You know, I have to say that, right? Please do. All right. So where were we? The taking of new information is itself an art. The tendency when one reads, when one hears or reads, is merely to repeat in one's head what one knows and not allow fresh information to come. Have you ever noticed how people don't seem to have heard what we said? Others feel that way about us. Receiving information becomes difficult because we believe we know. We know so many things which we don't. We know so many things which we don't. Much of what we believe to be knowledges may be biases and prejudice. Now, this word bias and prejudice is always used in the sense of troubling somebody. You know, in the sense you're prejudiced against this community, you're biased against that person, you know, all this sort of stuff. We're not even referring to that. We talk about internal ones. Much of what we believe to be knowledge may be biases and prejudices. Can you give me an example of biases and prejudices? Now, don't say I'm got a prejudice against that community, a bias against that person, not like that. Biases and prejudices. Not necessarily negative. I'll give you an example, which when that person said it to me, stood out in my mind. I mean, the fact that I'm telling you now. So there's a certain therapy which claims to sort of cure you of ailments. It's an alternative therapy. Now, I don't know whether it cures you or not, but somebody took X told Y to go and do that therapy. Said, oh, what is that therapy? So that man said that, the person said that they stand on you. Well, something like acupressure or something, except they stand on you. They don't use their hands, they use their feet. So this man who is suffering in pain, who has all these problems that he had just related, when told about this, he said, no, I cannot do this. Why not? I can't tolerate anybody's foot touching me. Biases and prejudices. Now, he's not examining whether the person is telling, that the person is saying something which is true or false. All he's concerned with is, I don't like anyone standing on me, touching me with my feet. Harry, you may not understand this, but you do? Okay, you know, in this country, touching something with your foot is not considered a good thing. Right? So you don't touch the books with your foot, and you don't touch people with your foot, and you know, it's not considered a good thing. It's a cultural sort of thing. So there is this is how we relate. Suppose I say, come to the course in July. So then somebody will say something like, oh, what kind of food is there? Because these are biases and prejudices. Or they'll say something like, oh no, I'm very busy. Busy? Too busy to do the world's most important thing. You know, I'm not suggesting that this is the world's most important. What I'm saying is, do you in your head know what is a priority and what is not a priority? And when you decide that, on what basis did you decide this was my priority? So whatever you are calling your priority may well be a bias and a prejudice. Oh, I have to look after my children. Oh, I have to be at home. whatever you think. So biases and prejudices are merely unexamined ideas which prevent you from doing the commonsensical thing. Feminists. Why feminists, Mahesh?
Whatever you say, they blame it on the man.
Ah, yes.
I just take it lightly.
Yes, that is one way, but I'm not even talking of that level of it. I'm talking about how we don't do commonsensical things because we have some stupid notions in our head. You said you're biased towards Vedanta. Yes, I'm biased towards Vedanta. No doubt about it. I haven't found anything that seems to answer questions as much as this does. Deep Raj. A woman denying to divorce her abusive husband because she wants to be a pativrata. Yes, true. You have all sorts of notions in your head. And so the most obvious, the most commonsensical, the most will not be clear. So whatever, much of what we believe to be knowledge may be biases and prejudices. Parents claiming their ward has a real job only when he gets a government job, correct? Yes. And pativrata is a notion created by a man. I don't know whether that is true, Mahesh. It's
Sorry, I have a bit of feminist in me. Sorry about that.
Yes, I know you have. So, Taruna, when we say we like some food, it's good for health. When we like some food, we say it's good for health. That's also prejudice, yes. Because, okay, sometimes you may want to eat a batata vada. You cannot say, oh, I only eat healthy food. Yeah, but here, there is only batata vada available. Everybody else may be wanting to have it. And you're just being a sore thumb by creating a problem. You see, it's just a simple, commonsensical way of living life in some sort of balanced way instead of making a big fuss about everything. You don't have to be a drama queen for everything.
Like what I meant was when we like something, so we don't see it as a bias, we see it as, oh, this is the good thing, or we are not able to locate the biases basically.
Correct.
It is right.
Right. Because okay, so here's what is a critical ingredient. Is, are you thinking in terms of the goal you're trying to achieve, or have you got some kind of concept in your head which you're trying to align to? If you can distinguish between this, you probably do well in life. Because we have all this, right? I do this, I don't do this, this is good, this is bad. No such thing. Either something takes you to your goal or it doesn't. It's all that counts. It's just that simple. And people who are achievers are people who have figured this thing out. All of us say, I can't do this, I can't do that. No, I will do whatever it takes to get me to this goal, whatever this thing is. I don't draw a line that I don't do this, I don't do this. What do you mean you don't do it? This is the price you have to pay. And if you pay the price, you get the object. You don't press the price, you don't get the object. Like even like suppose we want to build the Vedanta University. Some of us will say, we have to build the Vedanta University. And then you work backwards, what do you need to do and do it. Some people will say, I can do so much. You see the difference between this? I will do this much. So if it works, good. If it doesn't work, well, God didn't want it to work. There's a whole two different types of people. And the people who go for something are the achievers. The rest are making excuses. One thing is to say, this is what I want, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get that. You never find people like that. If you find somebody like that, hold on to their tail, because they will go reach wherever they're going, they'll take you also. Hang on to them. But it is an incredible thing how we say, I will do this. Whatever that thing is. Maybe good, maybe bad, doesn't matter, but I will do this. No, I will do whatever it takes to reach there. Now you all are doing this karma for you're making the calls. So there's a target. You say, I will reach this target, or I'll make calls as long as I'm comfortable. See the difference between the two things? I will do it. As long as it's comfortable, I'll do it. Versus, I am achieving that and I will do whatever it takes to achieve that. You see the difference now? Is that clear, the difference? It's so much in our heads that it's sometimes difficult. Is the difference clear?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Everybody else? I will do what it takes to get this thing, whatever that price be I'm paying it, because I think this is worth getting. Versus, I will do this, I will do X. Not I will do X. I will do whatever it takes.
One question, if we're facing like resistance towards like, say we want to achieve a goal, but it's like something in us is telling you this step that will get you to the goal is incorrect. That just means that there is another higher ideal that we are just not attuned to yet. That we are.
Like, what do you mean? Give me an example.
For example, say you want to go for, you want to get this job and you want to go for an interview, and you see this person on the street that's lying and he's injured and nobody is helping him, and you want to help him, and you can't go to that job interview because you want to help him. So even though your goal is the job interview, but you still prioritize helping that person. So there's a lot of resistance when you want to go to the job interview. So that means there's a higher ideal that's playing here that you don't know.
No, not necessarily. It could be discomfort. Because when you have to achieve something, you have to do uncomfortable things. And when we meet discomfort, we don't do this thing. So 99% of the time, it's nothing higher. It is all our personal discomfort with something. Like that man, he said, why I can't? Because nobody can touch me with their feet. It's personal discomfort. So I will do whatever is comfortable. These are the people who are interested in Vedanta. They will do for Vedanta whatever they find comfortable. Those who are dedicated to the cause will do whatever is necessary to achieve whatever target we have all agreed on. See the difference? This is a critical difference for us to understand in life, because it makes the difference between high achievers and non-high achievers.
Thank you.
Much of what we believe to be knowledge may be biases and prejudices. The process of gaining knowledge begins with cognizing our ignorance. There's a saying, gosh, it is amazing how much we have to know we know nothing. Gosh, it's amazing how much we have to know, how much you have to know you know nothing. Newton felt he was like a child collecting pebbles on the seashore while the vast ocean of knowledge lay all undiscovered before him. Why the need to keep on telling others our views? Let us learn theirs. Who knows what may suddenly swim into our position. Okay, so this reason for not gaining knowledge, not being able to take in information, is we don't recognize our own ignorance. We don't recognize our biases, our prejudice. And we also are always teaching others, always telling other people what to do. The assumption being, I know. The next reason for not doing Shravana, there's also a lack of value for knowledge. When one does not understand the need for knowledge, there is no interest in learning. So first one is you don't know your ignorance. Second one is you don't know you don't know value of this knowledge, of any knowledge. When one does not understand the need for knowledge, one has no interest in learning. For instance, a poor farmer does not send his son to school as he feels that the boy will be better off working and earning. This is a big problem of poverty. That the father, the family believes that the child should go to the field and work because then we will have more produce in the fields. So why would I send him to school? That's an expense. This is an income. He doesn't understand. And without education, he condemns his son to poverty too. So even though the government builds schools and all, half their job is to go and convince the parents to send the children to school. Not enough to build a school, they're all lying vacant and empty. They have to convince the parent that you have to send the child to school. People don't get it. It's not clear to them what is the use of this. Hence the saying, do what you've always done and you'll get what you've always got. Without education, he condemns his son to poverty. He doesn't realize his methods are not working. Do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. When faced with a challenge, we rarely look to our own thoughts. When things don't work, how often do we consider the limitation of our knowledge as a cause? Yet, with limited thoughts, our solutions themselves will be limited. So every time you face a problem, what do, you refer to what you know. But what you know is what brought you here in the first place. That's why this Einstein had this great saying attributed to him. You cannot solve the major problems of the day by the same kind of thinking that created them. So when things don't work, we are using the same tools to solve it, but these tools aren't working. But what do? We just use those tools more and more. And therefore, our problems are never solved. When things don't work, how often do we consider the limitation of our knowledge as the cause? Yet, with limited thoughts, our solutions themselves will be limited. Often, we meet a stone wall. We despair. We believe our problems are never going to be solved. So see what happens when there's a lack of value for the knowledge. For knowledge, then you are left with nothing but what you already know. So what you already know has brought you to this problem. And now you're using that same body of information to solve the problem. Ain't working. And when it doesn't work, what happens? When it doesn't work, what happens? That's such a complicated question. Yeah. What?
I'm not cut out for it. This is not for me.
Yes. We despair. We blame God. We say, oh, my destiny is so bad, or something, some idiotic notion. We don't say, look, here's something I haven't understood. Let me go and understand this thing. Most often we are in despair. We are heartbroken. We start crying. We say how bad this whole world is. And everything is so horrible over here. And I work so hard, but these people, they don't care for me. So many things we will say, but we will not find the real reason. Sad, no? And nobody can tell us. The saddest thing, nobody can tell us. Because we are caught up in our own beliefs. Who's going to tell you anything? The interesting thing is, everybody will be thinking, yes, I know people like that. And you're all thinking that, no people like that. But this is about us. We are like, we are unable to see what further things we need to know. Something incredible about this knowledge is that we always sort of think of somebody else when we talk about it. Very rare to find a person who says, yes, I am like this. Yes, I am doing these stupid things. Yes, I don't have value for knowledge. But you can work backwards. If you feel despair, if you feel, oh my God, nothing can be done, then we can work backwards and say, okay, what is it that I don't know? Because there's nothing in this world to make us feel despair. It's the most wonderful, most glorious world that we have got. Everything about it is so beautiful. You look out of the window, you see a sunset, it's so beautiful. You see the birds flying, you see everything is so beautiful, right? We went somewhere, all trees everywhere. Nice big lake. Everything is so beautiful. What's not good about this world? Everything is fantastic here. And all these humans also, they're all running around doing their things, creating entertainment for us. It'd be so boring, no, if everybody was perfect. But they're all imperfect. And it's all great fun to watch this drama. Everybody puts on their television to watch it. You get to watch it for free. All the fun and excitement of what are these people going to do next? So, I mean, this whole world is so wonderful. Everything is working so brilliantly. The law of causation is functioning. Not just amazing thing it is. How does it function like this? How does that even happen? Every single time you plant a mango seed, it will give you a mango tree. Nothing else can ever come out of it. Isn't it? Suppose the world was such that you plant a mango seed and a tiger came out of it. Then what would we do, right? We'd be all like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. But we know what to do because causation works so well. You know that if you put on the gas and you put water on that gas, the water will boil. Suppose causation doesn't exist, then maybe you put on the gas, you put water on that, and it freezes. That never happens, no? Has it ever happened with you? You put water on the stove and put on the gas, and the water froze. Ever happened? No. Always the same thing will go on. Beautiful one. In this beautiful world, if I'm despairing, if I feel, no, it's terrible, or too many problems, whatever, then I have to ask myself, what am I not seeing correctly? And if I can change that, I have to see the wonder and the beauty of it all. Deep Raj, they say miracles don't exist, but our ability to complain is the greatest miracle. Yes, correct. The ability to complain, to see negativity around here. It's such a positive world. To see negativity is a miracle. Suresh Chandwani. So basically, we are not open-minded and not having a sharp and developed intellect. Oh no, we're not even gone so far. We are just saying, please take in a little information. That is all we are on at the moment. Take in a little information. Because remember, we're doing Shravana. And you're saying, why are we not taking in any information? This point was that we don't have value. We're not taking in the information. We think, oh, everybody else is so stupid. So, how do I know I need to take in more information? When I feel despair. This is one way. If I feel despair about something, and I have to know something that I don't still know. Because this world is too beautiful for us to despair at anything. Okay, so where are we? So lack of value, right? And then we believe our problems are never going to end. The kind of information I notice says something about my vasana. Yes, Mamita, that's the kind of information I notice says something about my. Correct. Because otherwise I don't take it in. That's why it's so tough, right? It's so tough when it's not tough. This is a problem. So tough. That's why it's called samsara, it's called illusion, it's called all this thing. You said you're bound, but you're free. It's quite a contradiction. Anyway, we'll continue next time. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Nandi.
Hare Om. Thanks to you.
Hari Om Janki
Hari Om,
ji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hare Om, Janki ji. Thank you very much.
Hari Om Janki ji.
Hari Om Janki ji. Thank you. Thank you.
Hari Om.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Janki ji. Hari Om.
Hari Om.